literally defining woman by these fucking bullshit stereotypes. This hurts.
But it doesn't have to be a stereotype. It can be something that's just typical of being a woman.
Wait.
Which is what a stereotype is, there, genius.
No, it's not.
Intellectually and philosophically, so that men can somehow be defined under the category woman.
No.
Is that what your attempt is here?
When people say trans women or women, they're not saying a trans woman is a female. Like you
right, but women are adult human females, and these are adult.
You have misunderstood the claim.
Right. So if you try to wiggle around the definition so that you can include men in the category woman, you are destroying the word woman.
I'm not destroying anything. I'm just saying that can mean something else. Like, it's really simple.
No, it can't mean something else in the same context, sir.
No, I'm not. Words can have different meanings.
Yes.
Be able to equate womanhood as just a word. Like
hold on, though. Like, there's words like bat or
I'm not
bat,
equating
right?
it to that at all.
Hold on, dude. There's words like bat or bat, right? There's a sporting equipment bat, and there's the creature bat, right? But the word cannot mean the same. You can't use the same word and mean two different things in the same. Hold on. Let me finish the fucking sentence. You cannot make one word mean two different things in the same context. Okay?
Yeah, it's being used in a different context.
No, it's not. It's referring to, excuse me, it's referring to men who are mimicking adult human females. It's not sporting equipment and a creature. Those are not two different concepts. It's still referring back to adult human female.
It's associated with the idea of adult human female.
You're making the word woman. You're making the word woman mean adult human female and adult human male who mimics adult human females at the same time, which destroys the category because we need the word woman to mean us and not males. Because
you have a word, it's called female.
Things like women's rights.
It's called female.
Sports.
Okay.
So, Hank, do you understand that you can't make the word mean two different things in the same context? And if
I already know that, but I'm not saying that.
Male females or male women,
the problem is that's not what I'm saying.
I think Martha gave you a really clear example there.
I think that's not what I'm saying, and I think you're not understanding what I'm saying.
When you destroy the category woman, you destroy everything.
Why are you ignoring what I just said?
Because you're making it mean what it means, and it's opposite at the same time in the same context.
No, I'm not. In what way
tell
am
me
I
how
doing
it's
that?
different then. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So when someone says that a trans woman is a woman, they're not saying that they're adult human female. They're not saying that they're a female. They're not saying that they have the biological sex of the possess. They're not saying some crazy thing about the biological category of sex where they're transcending the actual sex that they were born in. They're just saying that there's social aspects to sex that are associated with the two sexes. And the collection of attributes, like, I don't know, wearing dresses or whatever.
Like long hair and dresses and stupid shit like that. Good thing we don't define women by those things, right? Oh, wait, you're actually doing that right now. Fuck off.
I'm not saying. I'm saying that's one way you can think about it. I'm not saying.
How about no? How about let's not be sexist assholes? How about let's just define women as adult human female? No, seriously, this is actually having really serious consequences.
I think you're being bad faith right now. I think that's what's happening.
No, I'm not. It's actually hurting women and girls to pretend that we are social constructs that surround our sex that men can participate in if they have long hair and dresses, and literally defining woman by these fucking bullshit stereotypes. This hurts.
But it doesn't have to be a stereotype. It can be something that's just typical of being a woman.
Wait.
Which is what a stereotype is, there, genius.
No, it's not.
Wait.
Something that doesn't.
has a question.
Yeah, just a second here, Hank. You claim that they don't want to identify it, or they claim that they're not women when they're actively saying that they are women, and that they're actively going into these spaces, these women's spaces, and they're saying they are women. They are belittling women. So what you're saying does not hold up, right? It's actively happening. Whether you want to squiggle out of it or not.
What are they saying? And what do you think I'm saying?
No. What you were saying, right? That you were trans women are actively not saying that they are you, right, or something like that.
Yeah, they're not females. They're not saying that they're.
Yes, but females. They actively are saying that. So
no, they're saying that they're women, and they're using the word differently from.
No, they are not.
Stereotypes. They
are not.
They're not
they're saying they're defining women. So they're saying, okay, women are adult human females, but women are also a bunch of bullshit stereotypes that are pushed on women that if men participate in can also be defined as women. And how about no? We don't define race by the stereotypes that surround race. We do not define women by the stereotypes that surround women. That's not okay. That is called sexism. And the ends of this goal to do this really sexist bullshit definition is to allow men to identify into the category woman. But then they go on to conflate sex and gender, or sex and the stereotypes, when they violate our female-only spaces, when they put female on their ID, when they take their bodies and try to mimic the female sex, when they deceive people and children and the world about their sex. So they conflate it all the time, and they cause boundary violations. They cause a colonization of our sex by stealing our language, taking all of the sex-based rights and provisions and protections we've carved out for ourselves to have away from the male sex. And they do all of this glorious, fun, amazing shit by doing what you've just described here and defining women by those stereotypes and norms and social constructs that surround women.
Yeah, I mean, there are social norms that are associated with the two sexes. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, but they do not define us as women.
Yeah, but if you're using the word differently so that it is referring to that, then
Being a sexist asshole, please stop.
But we already have a definition for women, adult, human, female. Like, if you're going to come with a new definition...
Again, it doesn't... Again, you're... Sorry, what? Oh, yeah. Again, you're saying that there's already a definition. It's like, I mean, that is one definition. That's the biological definition.
It's a non-sexist definition. It's the definition that means all women, every single woman on the face of this planet is adult, human, and female, whether they're masculine or feminine, or whether they like to wear dresses, or whether they want to have short hair, or whether they want to present masculine, or however they want to be. Any way that adult human females are, that's how women are. But then you guys added this stupid fucking definition on top that actually obliterated the first definition and says, well, no. Actually, woman is these gender stereotypes, is these social constructs that surround women, and you can actually be defined as a woman if you participate in them. Oh, and then men went, hey, I'm participating in them. Now I'm defined as a woman. And then the patriarchy was like, oh, fuck yeah, you are. Let's give you everything you could ever dream of for your disgusting paraphilic fetish. So now you can just go practice it in women's spaces.
I don't know why it has to be about stereotypes. Like, I mean, there are gender norms and you admit to it. And they can identify with it.
Okay.
Stereotypes are things that are typically true. Who cares? Like, just because some of these stereotypes are true and some of them are imposed, and they're true because they're imposed as well. Like, women still subscribe because the patriarchy pushes like certain beauty norms and certain standards of what females are expected to do in certain cultures. And, you know, women do subscribe and adhere to them in order to be socially acceptable and in order to be like what men want them to be or whatever. So yeah, just because the stereotypes can be like natural and true and or natural and like naturally occurring, or they can be imposed, doesn't mean that they're not typical and the norm of women. But I don't care if a man participates in the norms of women. He's not a woman. He doesn't get to violate women's boundaries. He doesn't get to be recorded in history as a woman's historical figure. He doesn't get to, you know, impede on women's health opportunities or women's sports opportunities. He doesn't get to live in society as if he's something he's not, because he's not that. So who cares? You can subscribe to the social constructs that surround children all you like, but you're not a child because you're an adult. And you can subscribe to the shit that surrounds women all you want, but you're not a woman because you're a fucking adult human male.
Yeah,
Hank, real quick, the social construct of a woman includes being a female, though. I don't know how you can escape the fact that the social construct of a woman includes being female.
Again, I mean, that's one definition of a woman. Like, that's a biological.
Isolating out the social aspects and then being like, you can be defined as a social woman, which is fucking.
I know, but that's
started.
I mean, that's what it. That's what
according to your definition of just observing.
Can we get your age, please, Ziv? Can we just get your age? Thank you.
Yeah, 27. even according to any view of viewing women as a social construct, they're inherently associated with being female.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they're one and the same, right? Like
But
a leash is associated with a dog, but that doesn't make
right.
it the same concept.
But that's the social construct of being a woman, is being a female. So when you say
No,
that,
it's not. That's the biological aspect of being a woman.
That's an inherent contradiction.
No,
Because
you're wrong about that. That's a biological aspect of being a woman.
But the word woman as a social construct
It's associated. I know, but it doesn't mean it's one and the same.
Does include an association with females. So,
Like, why would we ever include men in the definition of woman other than to like for
When you
men's-
say that, you're assuming the conclusion. You're assuming that like it has to like the definition is biological, and like and the reason why that is because otherwise you'd be including men as women. It's like
Right,
Hank,
well, now
one
you
thing that you should
have on a
understand-
definition that includes men.
That's a circular argument.
Hold on. Hank, one thing that you should understand, though, is like, even scientific consensus proves that the gender woman is associated to the biological classification of a female.
Yeah.
So even science is telling you that you're being an idiot by thinking that trans women.
Again, but no. Hold on a second. Like when you say it's associated with, does that mean it's one in the same as the same exact concept?
it's necessary.
Defining women by
Argument.
anything
What's
else.
the argument for that?
A 2017 study in
the argument
scientific
is that-
reports found that
It's
the,
the historical,
Sam, my bad.
the origin of the word, the historical utilization of the word, and what the word is defined as. So if you want to, what you're doing is trying to redefine. What you're doing is trying to redefine the word.
Well, don't we?
So you need to acknowledge that
It's
first.
opposite. Isn't that fun?
It's not their meaning is not determined by their history. That's the etymological fallacy. But second,
No, that's not a foul. That's not a fallacy.
it is.
Because how
It's
is
called the
meaning determined?
etymological fallacy.
How is usage?
Look it up.
How is usage determined?
Usage in the contemporary sense. Like how is it used now?
How has it been used since the origin?
It doesn't
of the
matter
word?
because what determines the meaning of words is how it's used now.
Yeah, but the reason why it's used that way now is because there's a perverted men's rights movement that has set its sight on womanhood as the new frontier to
is your
colonize
problem like
and
with people
fetishize
being
everything
trans?
female.
Is your problem with people being trans? Like, do you just not like trans people?
I think the behavior of mimicking a sex that you're not is incredibly pathogenic in a mammalian society where it's important for our procreation and survival to know what sex people are. I think it's unleashed a social contagion and medical atrocity upon our society that's unforgivable. I think it's set women's rights back 50 years. I think it's fucking sexist, dehumanizing, and ushering in transhumanism in an unethical way that we don't want to go down that dystopian path. So yeah, I think when people mimic a sex that they're not or deceive the world about their sex, that is an incredibly pathogenic behavior, and they should not do that 100%.
Right, and I would never. You won't ask anybody that would tell you unless it's only a very small group.
Okay, Natalie, can I get your age, please?
I'm 21.
S, can I get your age, please?
I'm 18.
What year were you born? Okay.
Yeah, the common use of the word woman doesn't include males. So you can't say that's the way it's used now either.
That's more than one definition. Look it up in the dictionary.
A small radical activist group of people is trying to change the meaning of that word. That's all you can say. The common usages of man and woman are not whatever you want them to be.
You can argue that it shouldn't mean that, but it doesn't mean that it isn't used that way. It is.
It's used that way by a small radical group of people, but the common usage of those terms...
But the usage is increasing, though.
Do not mean any sex. Do not mean any sex. When you say woman, it doesn't mean male or female. When you say man, it doesn't mean male or female. There's actually no definition to those words now. You need to come up with a new functional definition to those terms, unless you want all gendered spaces in society to be reworked. Is that what you're advocating for?
I'm not advocating for that at all. I'm just saying that
you are advocating for that if there's no delineation between these gendered terms and an entire society that's built around them.
But why would that entail that?
There's women's clinics. There's women's clinics. There's men's clinics. There's women's bathroom. There's men's bathroom. There's all of the separated sex-based spaces in society. So if you're advocating to eliminate the distinction,
how do you identify a woman?
You need to understand what the impact of what you're doing is.
It's really, I think you guys are looking into it way too much because, first off, gender neutral bathrooms exist. Anyone can go into those bathrooms, and they're single stall
It's called
bathrooms.
family bathrooms, not gender.
I wish they would use them, but they don't
No,
want to because they have paraphilias that make it so they need to violate women's boundaries and consent.
my
So
God.
they're using the ones that are for the women. That's why we're having so many problems,
Oh my
okay?
God.
If they use gender neutral, they would be less of a problem now, wouldn't they?
Oh
But
my
Natalie,
God.
what does that have to do with the conversation?
You said reworking spaces.
All of
We
society.
already.
Yeah, she's addressing the consequences that you're
Yeah.
claiming are like going to be the result of like our position or whatever, like the negative
Yeah,
consequences.
yeah, right. Well, because you don't have a
It's relevant.
coherent,
I mean, if you did, let
you
her
don't
make
have
the
a
argument.
functional.
No, and then
You no
and
longer
then-
have a functional definition of either man or woman, and that impacts
Yeah,
all
you
the spaces.
can. What do you mean you don't have a
that
functional
impacts all the
definition?
spaces delineated between the two, right? Because what's going to happen is you're going to try to say it's a social construct.
And also
You're only
list
going
your original claim,
to
by the way.
list associative factors associated with the social constructs, and then it's going to reduce down to just somebody's opinion about the word that is meaningless because everybody has their own interpretation of it. That's what's going to happen here.
that's pretty much all the words are anyway.
That's a simple.
No,
They
they're
point
not.
to
No, they're not
they point
because
to
we're having.
objective concepts. They point to objective reality. We can't just be like, well, when I say the word tree,
Objective reality.
I sometimes mean, a car. Sometimes I mean a cat. Words are subjective. Who cares? No, they need to be coherent and they
Social
need to be able
constructs
to
exist in
communicate
reality.
something
What are you
real.
talking about?
So we can't just be like, well, women are just men sometimes, but also women, but whatever. Anyway, it's like, no, we actually have to have the word mean us so that we can have sex-based rights and protections and provisions. We can have women's rights, women's spaces, women's shelters, women's sports, women's history, women's health. But if you pretend that men can also be in the
How
category
does
of
it stop
women,
that from
I don't-
happening?
you
I don't-
destroy.
I don't
I'm telling you,
understand.
I'm actually answering the question you just asked before you even asked it. When you destroy the category woman, because you do that when you include men in the category, you destroy all of those things underneath that category because now we don't know who we're talking about. So if spaces are for women and men are accessing them because they're being defined as women, then those spaces are gone for women. They no longer exist because we need them away from the male sex. So if we're not allowed to exclude the male sex from fucking anything, then we've lost everything that we needed away from the male sex.
Yeah. And you're contradicting yourself as you're speaking because you're assuming a shared understanding of all the other words you're using in this conversation, except for man and woman. So how do you justify that?
I mean, what? A shared understanding.
He's
What
not
do you-
with me, but I mean,
No,
if
no, I'm
you
talking
really
about
want to
both.
take like a philosophical approach to it, words
When you-
mean nothing.
When you
Words
say
mean nothing.
philosophical, when you say
Okay,
words,
well, that's useless.
when you
You're
say
just being-
nothing, what do you mean by all those?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's
When
what
you
I'm
say
saying.
when you say exactly, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, you're proving my point. Words
When you say-
words
when you
can
say
mean
proving-
anything.
When you
They've
say proving,
had
what do you mean by
meaning.
that?
Okay, if you want to keep doing that,
But do you see how every word we utter, you understand because each word has meaning, and we're we're mutually understanding each other, right?
Yeah,
I'm uttering words at you, and you understand what I'm saying because those words have meaning, right? I'm not just saying random things that you have no idea what I'm saying because the words, every word that's coming out of my mouth is the English language that you know as well, and they all mean what like there might be some words where we're like, oh, we kind of use them colloquially a bit different, but as a word as important as woman needs to not mean its opposite and what it means at the same time in the same context, because that hurts women and girls as a fucking protected sex class and allows men to enact their fetishes and their disorders onto humanity and onto society, and women and children pay the price for that. Okay, so fuck every single one of these men. They can stay outside of our spaces. They do not get to be defined as us. They do not get to colonize our language or our spaces or our sports or our prisons. They do not get to do any of this. We are fighting it. And for every single one of you who are just like, well, we're just going to accept these definitions and we're just going to let these men do whatever the fuck they want, you're just throwing women and girls under the bus. So thanks for that.
I just want to say one thing. I don't really talk on here much, but if you don't really believe that stuff is happening, there are women's teams, like high school young girls, advocating for themselves to have men out of their league, their sports, and everything they're going to and speaking out at podiums and meetings, begging to have just girls on their teams, not men. It is extremely insane that we are in 2025 doing something like this. We're going back in time, fighting for our rights again. Do you understand?
It's worse. It's worse than what happened before. Like, because at least the old misogyny didn't try to colonize us, didn't try to actually, they were speaking for us. They weren't trying to speak as us, right? Like these men are actually taking away everything female, and like
these girls undress in front of males. They're making them share locker rooms. Do you understand that these are our children? These are our youth. These are our future, and we are trying to protect them. We're trying to get this delusion out of their brains. And you guys,
we're actually mutilating and sterilizing them.
What is the delusion?
As well as mutilating them and giving them puberty blockers so they don't go through their puberties. Like, how can you justify all this?
You guys are saying a lot, and I don't like. If you take the position that I'm taking, like, you don't have to be committed to all of those things. Like, for one,
you don't agree with gender affirming care and reassignment surgery? We can abolish those.
Well, what I think, I'm not sure, to be honest with you, but
why not?
For example, like, I disagree. I think I disagree with trans men being in women's sports. I think I disagree with that. And I think I probably disagree
it's
with.
Funny how men are always like, yeah, we can concede on the sports, but fuck your privacy, fuck your dignity, fuck your safety in spaces where you're in states of undress. These pervy fetishy men can go right on in there, but the sports, that's where I draw the line. It's funny how men are always like that. They always hold that stance. It's really interesting.
I know.
I have a question. Okay. How many, trans something bad? Like, where's the statistic on that?
So they don't, hold on, we don't need to prove that
Snowball, can I just get your age, please?
Oh, sorry. I'm 21.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
So we don't need to prove that men who mimic our sex are any more dangerous than any other man. But there is statistical proof that, like, when the men who are mimicking our sex in prisons are there for sexual and violent crime at like 5 times the rate than the regular male population. Like, we do have, because like paraphilias are very dangerous, and they are especially dangerous to women and children.
Can you get back on the statistics point and stop going on a tangent?
You don't get to dictate how I speak. But anyway, so we can actually prove that these men are more dangerous, but I don't even make that argument. We don't have to prove that they're any more dangerous than any other man, because they don't even have to perpetrate on us. All they have to do is violate our privacy and our dignity, and that's quite enough. So we don't have to prove that they're graping us at high rates or intimidating, harassing. We just have to, all they have to do is stay the fuck out of our spaces because of our privacy and our dignity. And that's quite enough. Like, they can just have basic bar in hell level respect for our privacy and our dignity in spaces where we expect males to not be, so we can deal with our female bodies in states of undress, fleeing male violence, incarcerated, sleeping, all these kinds of things that we've carved out for ourselves to have away from the male sex. They don't even have to go as far as graping us, which they do, by the way. They also do. But the privacy and dignity violation is quite enough, thanks.
I mean, is this a TED Talk of Martha, or is this a discussion?
I don't know what you just said. 2 people were talking at once.
Yeah, is this a Martha TED Talk, or is this a discussion?
Well, I just made
when
my
Martha's
point.
talking, we'd like to give her respect. Thank you.
Do you want to respond?
You can rebut my point, or you can just whinge about my...
Can I respond?
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, so I get what you're saying, obviously, like, women deserve their privacy, and I agree in sports, I agree in, like, incarceration, all the... Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Okay, sorry about that. I think that those are...
just ignore them, go ahead.
I get suspended later, guys. It was because of him.
I think it's just, like... I think in the sense of the bathroom, like, I don't think that someone who, like, fully presents as a woman, looks like a woman, acts like a woman, being in a woman's bathroom, you're not, like, in the same stall, you're not undressing in the same place. Like, no, I wouldn't want another woman to see me when I'm, like, in a private, like, in a private setting like that either. Like, you know what I mean?
But these are men. So the men who are mimicking our sex are not special magical kinds of men who we don't need privacy away from. Like, they're not like.
But you're still getting privacy, even if you're
right.
You're
But the stall. Okay, so the whole space is for women, right? Not just the little stall that there's gaps. I don't need an AGP jaying off in the stall next to me while I'm having a miscarriage. Thanks. I also, if we want to use the sink, if we want to, there's whole,
happened a lot.
I could send you a whole compilation of it.
Is it funny? Wait, Disco Ball. Is it funny that women have miscarriages? Because I just heard you laugh. Is it funny?
No, but she's saying that people are.
Okay, well then shut the fuck up.
Excuse.
He's laughing at the part that she said someone jacking off in the stall.
Yeah.
Hey, no more of that shit. You understand?
So the stall is not enough privacy. The whole space is for us. Sometimes homeless women use the sink to bathe. Sometimes we need to change our children's clothes, not just in a tiny little stall. You might want to rinse your diva cup out. You might want to rinse out a period mess. You might not want a big, giant, disgusting AGP to be jaying off in the stall next to you while you're dealing with your period or menstruation or.
But how many times has that happened?
Muslims have hijabs that they can't take off in front of men. It's against their culture.
Yeah, hijabs, like the whole space is for us. Okay, so men can fuck right the fuck off in the entire space, and the men who are so obsessed with our anatomy that they would like to mimic it, I don't feel extra safe with those men. Those men can especially fuck off in my mind. So yeah, that's my rebuttal.
Why does it uniquely matter whether or not you get privacy from men or from other people? Like, I don't.
Well, because I know you're a man and you don't understand what it's like to deal with menstruation or deal with the fact that you're a more vulnerable sex, and when you're pregnant and when you're miscarrying and when you have to deal with like period messes and hijabs, and you don't understand what it's like to be a woman who even just the sound of a man's voice in an enclosed space where your pants are down.
With emotion.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to help you understand how women feel. This is why they want privacy, because we are vulnerable to males. They can impregnate us. They can beat us up. They can unalive us with their bare hands. Do you think it's irrational to feel that way?
Well, I mean, it has to be justified by like some sort of.
all rational thoughts.
Oh, okay. I'll justify it then. Yeah. So the majority of the sexual,
not just men, trans women.
No, I don't. We don't just say like gay men and white men and Chinese men and short men and like I don't care what kind of man it is. They're all just men, so they can fucking stay out. But the majority of the sexual and violent crime in the world is perpetrated by men, right? So women are unalived every 11 minutes by men in the world. We're raped every 60 seconds. So women have an inherent, pretty much every woman you will ever speak to has been either SA'd, raped, molested as a child, had unwanted sexual advances, or been intimidated, harassed, voyeured upon, recorded, indecently exposed to. Something has happened from the male sex to traumatize them or harm them. Some women know, but that's very, very, very rare. So yeah, women would actually because of our physical vulnerabilities to the male sex and our reproductive vulnerabilities to the male sex, we would like some basic goddamn fucking privacy away from the male sex where our pants are down and we're dealing with our female biology. Is that going to be okay or no?
Bathrooms, public bathrooms are usually in public, and it's. Never mind.
These men are just absolutely pathetic. They're all cucks. They're all DL. I think that you guys are all on the low banging TWs because you can't sit here and say that the argument that Martha just made is irrational or it's too harsh or it's not fair or it's discriminatory. We all feel like this, and you guys will never understand. That's why when we say TWs are never women and they're never going to be, it's because you men just simply don't get it. Okay? When you're pregnant, when you're shoving suppositories up your vaginas, when you're breastfeeding children and changing diapers and miscarrying and bringing drunk friends into bathrooms to get away from men that are trying to hit on them and stick their disgusting hands down our pants when we're drunk in bars and are waiting for cabs to pick us up. You guys just don't seem to understand any of that. So it's is it okay? Would you mind if when my vagina is exposed, when my pants are down to my knees, so I could urinate in peace and change a tampon, or maybe perhaps change a menstrual cup?
Stalls so they can't
is it okay if after I'm done changing my menstrual cup or my tampon, I can go wash my hands in the sink and wash the blood off of my fingers? Or is it not okay? Are you telling me that my privacy stops at the stall door so we could allow some men in there to also enjoy the fruits of our labor in our restroom? Or is it okay, sir, if you don't mind, can I wash my hands and get the blood off my filthy fingers in the sink? Or should I just
just
stay
wondering
in my stall?
statistically how
Well, let me ask you,
frequently.
should I just rinse my hands in the toilet? What do you think? I mean, you should know, right? You're a man.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm definitely done.
Oh my God, this is so emotional. Jesus Christ!
No, because we're tired of this bullshit.
Well, how about this? How about this? What do you guys have any statistics regarding trans men sexually assaulting any women?
Martha has a lot.
I don't want men in the bathroom. I don't want anybody with dick and balls.
That's great. I mean, that's great. I asked you a question.
I have statistics, tons. I have the prison stats that show that there are higher rates of SAing women and children. They're actually the most dangerous, man.
I don't really care about your feelings. I just would like to.
It's not feelings. It's facts, and we're passionate about it because we're women. And once again, we're getting our rights taken away by men that get off pretending to be us. So stop playing around with emotions, okay? Because to us, it's serious. To the people that have children, I have 3 girls, it's serious. So stop fucking around and saying, oh, with your emotions, or I'm going to fucking drop you.
You can drop me because right now you're not making an argument.
Do you understand,
Hank,
do you understand these spaces weren't separated based on crime statistics? Or you're missing half the argument. These spaces weren't separated based on crime statistics.
Yep.
Like, why can't we just have basic respect for our privacy? Like,
Yeah.
why does it have to be like, well, how
Safety's a
great
part
are
of it,
you?
right?
Why do you
How
care
many
more
times
about?
are you getting raped?
Why do you
Like,
care
just
more
have
about
basic
mentally
fucking
ill
respect for our
men?
privacy.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, that's
care
part
more
of
about
it. But
mentally
you're
ill
saying
men.
with a lot of passion, but it doesn't mean you're giving me any kind of evidence for it. So
This crime is safety is a part of it. Dude.
Yeah, show him the statistics.
Safety is not the reason.
Maybe I'll change my mind if you tell me, but you're not going to convince me. But
show him the statistics.
Let me just get this straight. You don't understand that men perpetrate the majority of the sexual and violent crime against women and girls? You don't believe me when I say that a girl is.
I don't think I said that. I think I asked you for a specific statistic, and you're
okay. Well, I just gave you two. A woman or a girl is unalived every 11 minutes.
No, not that statistic. I'm asking for a statistic that shows that there is a high risk of being sexually assaulted by trans women in the bathroom.
Why would I need to provide that? Why would I need to provide that statistic? I don't care if there's a high risk.
Because that's the objective evidence that there's a risk.
Hold on. Just for a whole just Jesus Christ, hold the fuck on. No, we do not have to let a ton of women and girls get raped and hurt by men who are mimicking our sex in order to get a high statistic for you. Sorry, no, we don't need to provide you a bunch of hey, you know how hard it is for us to even prove our grapes, our violent grapes? Less than 2% of the time they are prosecuted. Do you know how many women and girls would have to get hurt for the statistics to bump up significantly enough, especially in such a small population of men? Are you mental? Do you want to let that many women and girls get hurt before you'll be convinced to get these men the fuck out? Are you fucking kidding me right now?
I just didn't answer my question. That's cool.
The reason for the space, so it doesn't matter. Your question's irrelevant, dude.
It is relevant because she's saying that
essay is not the reason to have sex.
But now you're being disingenuous. And
you guys don't know how conceptual analysis works.
No. You're minimalizing everything that Martha has been talking about. You're minimalizing everything that's happened to these women. So every time you do that, I want to break one of your teeth every single time.
I really don't care.
Men sticking up for men. It's men sticking up for mentally ill men.
I'm kind of done talking to you guys.
Well, you're not the judge of this. Courts have ruled on this, and they didn't cite SA cases to determine that it's legal to have sexually separated restrooms. They did it on the basis of decency and privacy. They didn't do it on the basis of SA. Your question's irrelevant. You need to go read the case law and educate yourself on why we have these.
Which is what I was saying as well. We don't need to be harmed for us.
Well, first of all, they're already allowed in public bathrooms, so the statistics should already exist if it's happening, and it's not. So
how many cases would you like?
This is
we could just spend the rest of the
This is called pearl clutching.
Hank, how many would you like? Because we could just sit here for the rest of the live and read them out if you like. There's about 600 cases.
Martha has a lot of the information.
Yep.
So
do you want to see them?
Why don't you just do it right away? But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Martha, show it to him.
Right now, and I don't have a computer with me, but I can say a month ago in Edmonton, Alberta, 3 women were raped in a women's shelter by a man pretending to be a woman. That was just something recent, but I can't Like, can somebody else start reading their cases? Because we have 600 documented so far.
So, are these are statistics? It doesn't sound
these
like
are
it.
just
It sounds like these are
cases.
anecdotes.
These are yeah. Oh, okay.
They are
How many?
cases.
How many? Do you need
They
thousands
happen.
then? Millions?
So a lot of really bad
How many
things
do you need?
happen, but that's not what statistics are. I don't. Do you need me to explain to you what this?
Right,
what
but we
I think you
already
need to
have-
listen to Manimal for a little bit.
I think I'm done talking to you guys, to be honest.
I wanted
We
to
already
bring
have
something
statistics
up.
about men, though. We don't need
Hey.
the certain types of men and what their behaviors are.
I'm just asking.
No.
I'm just asking for evidence. That's it. Like, I'm not saying that you're not right. You're just like being. You're not.
Okay,
hitting the
if we
arguments.
give
You're
you
not, I'm
evidence,
sorry.
then,
You're
like-
just being emotional.
If we give you evidence,
Have you heard about the female-only trains in Japan?
What's up?
Have you heard about the trains in Japan that they've had to make female-only?
No.
Well, so in Japan, they've had such an issue with women getting assaulted on trains that they've actually had to create women-only trains.
What's going on?
his two brain cells
Hey,
are not working.
I'm in like a literal shop right now. That's
Yep.
all quiet. So I'll be back in a sec.
Hank's two brain cells are not working.
So hold on.
What?
Aaron.
I'm just wondering if there's more to that. I'm just waiting for.
So do you know why I'm telling you, they had to do women-only trains because there were so many essay assaults against women on trains. So like, this is a global issue, okay? Women's only spaces are a global issue. It's always been a problem for men or for women to exclude males from their spaces, always throughout history, globally, okay? It's never really been an issue for men because it's very easy for us to like repel women from our spaces. So it's never been an issue for us, okay? So my question to you, do you think female human beings globally, anywhere, should be allowed to exclude male humans? Yes or no?
Like anywhere and like at all, just categorically.
Are there any places in public where women should, be able to exclude males?
Yeah. I think they could if they choose to.
Bathrooms. What about bathrooms?
I'm just like, I don't know what you think I'm saying.
So can you just name a place? Like, would bathrooms be a place where you would think women, I should say, female humans?
They could. I'm not saying. Okay, what do you think I'm saying? I'm just wondering. Like, all I've asked for is evidence that there's like a risk.
Bro, okay, so if you look at the statistics about SA, you'll see that like 98% of the offenders
I have to
males.
leave because
And
my
hold on,
phone's gonna die. I'm sorry. I have to leave because my phone's
90%
gonna
of
die.
the victims, 90% of
I'll
the
see you
men of the
later.
victims are female. Okay, so I don't know what more like evidence you need. Like if there was any other crime where 90% of the or 98% of the perpetrators were one demographic and 90% of the victims were another demographic, it would justify separate spaces where they can be like, hey, look, we need spaces apart from this demographic that's committing all these crimes. Oh, did he just ran? Damn.
Yeah.